The comments have already started before the show. How is it even possible? Welcome into the Farzy Show, brought to you by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. And we're coming to you live, as we always do, from the Steven Sager Studios. My name is Mark Farzetta. How's everybody doing? Anybody see Sir Anthony Dominguez throw last night? Or yesterday afternoon, I should say. 97! Guy hasn't seen action in like a million years, it seems like. And now the Phillies bullpen looks like they're going to get a little bit of a boost. At least our confidence got a bit of a boost yesterday when he took the bump for the first time in spring training and popped them in at 97 miles per hour. There were some piping hot pitches from him yesterday, and a rather ice-cold take. And when I say that, I don't know if people, when they say ice-cold take, if they're referring to, it's just like, well, yeah, no kidding. Like, hey, 2 + 2 is 4. Ooh, ice-cold take. No, it's just a statement of fact. And Joe Girardi had what I characterized as a nice cold take yesterday, which is when we referred to the Phillies lineup as something that reminded him of being in the AL East. Yeah. How about just the American League in general? First off, the DH, and then a lineup that can absolutely smash. The Castellanos deal became officially official yesterday, as the Phillies dropped it on Phillies.com, as well as social media and Twitter included. It was a great day, more or less. Phillies actually won a spring training game. Bryce Harper had an RBI single. Bryson Stott had a couple of nice bats, right? There you go. There's a lot of things that went on yesterday with the Phillies that just got you excited for the season to start, and also give you some great expectations for what this season could actually bring. And I was reading the comments yesterday after we had Ben Verlander on the show. That's Ben Verlander. And a lot of people are right where I'm at with, oh my goodness, they're actually going to break the drought. And it doesn't so much go to say that we feel that way because the Phillies made all these offseason acquisitions. That's obviously a reason for optimism. But really what it comes down to is the fact that the playoffs have been expanded. So we take this lineup that on paper is the best lineup that the Phillies have had since 2008, bar none, and we add into it the idea that one more team's going to make it in the playoffs. That's something that'll get a lot of people excited, myself included, when it comes to Phillies baseball for the upcoming year. We can look at things around the AL East, most notably, the NL East. Now I'm saying the AL East, but the NL East, we can look at things like, for instance, in Atlanta. They bring in Olsen, but they lose Freddie Freeman, a much better ball player. You can look at things that go on with New York. They add Max Scherzer to their rotation. There are other big things that other teams have done in the NL East to make you go, okay, well, they're trying to keep up with the Joneses as well. Or if you're the Braves, they're just trying to keep the status quo. And the Braves, as we all know, had a pretty nice tear last year without Ronald Acuna Jr. To really round out that season. They ended up winning the World Series. So the Phillies are just trying to keep up with all of that. This wasn't just one acquisition that the Phillies made, though, in this offseason. This isn't like adding just Jim Thome like they did back in the early 2000s. That's not just the one move that they've made. This feels like a revamping of the roster. When you add 2 big bats to the lineup, when you have an opportunity to get a guy like Bryson Stott involved who's competing for the shortstop position right now with Didi Gregorius, that's going to make you feel like you're turning things over big time. And also the fact that you're getting that DH, which everybody is getting, but you have some perfect bats to go into that DH spot. It makes you feel a lot better about that lineup. Then we look at the rotation with the Philadelphia Phillies. You look at Aaron Nola. You look at Zach Wheeler, whenever he's going to be ready to pitch. He threw off the mound for the first time 2 days ago, which was great to see. At least he's doing that. And then you look at some of the back-end guys. You think about what you could get from Zach Eflin. We talk about all the ifs, maybe the concerns, maybe the reasons for optimism going into this season. But really what it comes down to is if this lineup can really mash, they're going to make up for a lot of mistakes made by the bullpen. Even if Jairus Familia, for instance, actually goes out there and gives you some decent innings. Even if a guy like Knebel struggles as your closer this year. Maybe he won't be in that many save opportunities that the Phillies lineup is really, really hitting the ball well this season. We talk about it a lot in other sports, how you can have a strong offense to make that your best defense. Well, we talk about it a lot in other sports too, especially in football, when we talk about what a quarterback can do to be the deodorant to a lot of other problems you have on a roster. That's what we wanted Carson Wentz to be here when the Eagles roster was having its difficulty. We've talked about a guy like Carter Hart for the Flyers trying to be the deodorant when everybody else around him isn't playing so well. That obviously hasn't worked out for the Flyers. But we talk about certain aspects of every team that if they just perform to the best of their ability, if they just do what they're supposed to do, and this lineup can smash, if they do that, then that bullpen's not going to look so bad. because that bullpen's going to have a lot of breathing room. The rotation might not be as bad as the back end of things as the season goes on. We're looking at this lineup to be the saving grace of the season, because I know when we look at Aaron Nola, we all have a lot of questions. Which version of Aaron Nola are we going to be getting? And this is all the stuff that went through my mind when I'm watching the game yesterday. But Bryce Harper getting that RBI single made me start thinking about what it's going to sound like at Citizens Bank Park during the regular season when we actually see that happen. And these are all the thoughts that were going through my head. And to think about what version of Aaron Nola you could get when he gets Zach Wheeler back, because I don't think it's going to be long. I still don't think he's going to be ready by opening day. He might miss his first or second turn of the rotation. I don't think it'll be anything worse than that. But I still think you're going to have a hell of a 1-2 punch at the top of the rotation, your 1-2 guys in your starting five. So that's something I'm looking forward to. Looking to see what Zach Eflin can do for you as well. Kyle Gibson, see what he can bring to the table for this Phillies rotation, and then see what else they can do as they round out that rotation as the season goes on. But thinking about the lineup and what they can do, they're the star of the show. And when Joe Girardi is talking about it as if it's the heyday of the American League East and he's got, big bats in that Yankees order, this has got to be that similar feeling, like he said yesterday. And when you're thinking about guys like Castellanos and Schwarber and Harper, and also thinking about what you could do possibly by revamping Alec Boehm, as we talked about yesterday with Kevin Long and what he could do as the Phillies hitting coach. When we also talked about Rhys Hoskins, a healthy Rhys Hoskins, what he can do. This lineup is going to be something that will keep the butts in the seats. We always talked about with Howard and Utley and Rollins and those guys, and Pat Burrell even his ability to hit home runs. We always talked about how you got to be in your seat, especially when Ryan Howard's at the plate. If you're sitting at the ball game or if you're on your sofa at home, I'm not going to go to the kitchen and get something. I'm not going to go to the concession stand at the ballpark. I'll wait on those nachos, even though they sell them in a helmet now, which has just been phenomenal. Great job by Major League Baseball doing that. That's one thing I'll applaud Major League Baseball for is selling the nachos in a helmet. But we don't go do that when Ryan Howard's coming to the plate because something special is about to happen. We don't do that when Bryce Harper is coming to play because something special is about to happen. Now you have about at least 4 guys in this lineup where you could think something special is about to happen. And people are getting excited, as they should be, for this Phillies season. And it starts in just a couple of weeks. It's just around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. It's just around the corner. So I'm excited. I know you're excited. We're all excited. And yeah, Sir Anthony Dominguez kind of got the good vibes going yesterday when he looked great. And he hit 97 on the radar gun. And even the broadcast, even Tom McCarthy and Ruben Amaro Jr. like, 97. Oh, welcome back, Sir Anthony. It's been about 10 years since you pitched. Nice to have you. So that's what we got for the Phillies today. Very excited about that. Also, the 76ers tip off with the Lakers. The Lakers, no bueno. No bueno this year. However, LeBron James is right there with Joel Embiid as the leading scorer in the NBA. That's amazing to me. It's one of those things that I didn't realize. Maybe it's because I don't stay up really late to watch a bunch of Lakers games. But when I'm following Joel Embiid and what he's doing throughout the year, and then I look down to see who he's competing with for the league leading in points per game, LeBron James is right there. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, with the way the Lakers are playing, they need somebody to score their points, I guess. And he's certainly doing it for them. It's always a big game when you're playing LeBron James. We know that. It's always a big game no matter what when you're playing the Lakers. Tonight's a huge game for the 76ers. They got to keep that energy, James Harden, Joel Embiid, that you saw from Tyrese Maxey and the rest of the Sixers team when they went up against the number 1 team in the Eastern Conference, the Miami Heat 2 nights ago. They need to keep that energy, and then they need to build on it. They need to make a statement in tonight's game by taking care of business. They should win this game tonight. They need to win this game tonight. This is a game that you want to see Joel Embiid go out there and drop 40 on the Lakers. And I know, obviously, he came up short a couple of nights ago of hitting his over, and I've been telling you, ride that over. This is a night I think is going to be safe to hit the over, which last I saw was 30.5 for Joel Embiid tonight going up against the Lakers. So that's what I'm looking forward to tonight. And then also James Harden has not looked good lately. He has not looked confident in his shot, and rightly so. A lot of 1-for-6s from beyond the arc, a lot of 2-for-7s from beyond the arc. That's not the James Harden that I want to see. I need to see those numbers improve, and I think we all do. The guy that is shooting so poorly he's now afraid to shoot doesn't do people a lot of favors. And that's more or less what I've seen from James Harden. And what that leads to is turnovers. And when we talk about the Sixers having 10 turnovers the other night and James Harden having 6 of them, that's cause for concern. This is a game I want to see. 10 o'clock tip-off tonight in Los Angeles. I want to see James Harden play a controlled basketball game. I want to see him play within himself. I want to see him confident in his shot, hopefully a day away and texting. You guys had the story pretty well. I think he was texting Joel Embiid. Hopefully that's who he was texting 2 nights ago. But that's what I want to see from James Harden in this game. The guy that's confident in himself to make the play and not force something to somebody else that also is not expecting it. I mean, we talked about it a lot with some other point guard that was here in Philadelphia for a few years, some Australian fella, about forcing things, almost passing his problems onto somebody else. James Harden penetrates the lane. I want to see him go up strong for a layup. I want to see him attack the rim. I don't want to see him looking to defer basically because he might get his shot blocked or he might get fouled, which we all know he's going to go after the foul anyway. But I don't want to see him force it to somebody else when he thinks, maybe I don't. You're James Harden, man. You got it. You can finish at the rim. You can attack the basket. Let me see that in tonight's basketball game. And above all else, just win, baby. Just win. And hopefully we'll see that happen. Our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is a guy named Clay Harbor, who played 9 years in the NFL. 3 of those seasons were with the Philadelphia Eagles. He was drafted as a 4th-round pick. And I want to tell you about this guy because he has had some things. I'm going to go over these tweets with him today. But he has obviously kept up with the NFL. And he has kept up with the Eagles. And this is the interesting point I saw the other day. And this was actually yesterday when we taped the interview. He just happened to put this out as well. And he was talking about Jalen Hurts, and he's talking about Kenny Pickett, and he's talking about Malik Willis, who, by the way, had an incredible pro day yesterday. What did I say yesterday? Pro days are like fishing shows that aren't edited. It's just like, okay, yeah, he's throwing a football, right, against nobody. There was like a coach rushing him. Oh, wow, look at this guy. The arm strength is pretty great. I'm not going to lie. But this is where he stands on Jalen Hurts. And you guys know that's where I've been with Jalen Hurts. But something keeps telling me, and I think it was it Jeff Mosher of Inside the Birds podcast that put it out there, saying that he's just getting a feeling that Howie Roseman is going to draft a quarterback. It wouldn't shock me. In a year where everyone's talking about, you wait till next year for a quarterback. In a year where Deshaun Watson was available but didn't want to come to Philly for whatever reason, whether you believe the story about him wanting to be loyal to his friendship with Jalen Hurts, whatever. Russell Wilson's on the move. Aaron Rodgers might believe it. No, he stays in Green Bay. Tom Brady retires. Now he's back with the Buccaneers. Matt Ryan's on the move. We're talking about all these different quarterbacks moving around in the NFL. It's still just Jalen Hurts here. In a year where we've talked a lot about that, and it's became public knowledge that the Eagles did make a play for Russell Wilson, and Russell Wilson said thanks, but no thanks. If Howie's not going to get any of those quarterbacks, it still feels like he wants to go out there and get his quarterback. And you might say, well, he drafted Jalen Hurts in the 2nd round when he just signed a $150 million deal with Carson Wentz. Yeah, that's true. But he drafted Jalen Hurts for depth. He didn't draft Jalen Hurts because he thought, oh, yeah, this is the guy that's going to be our franchise quarterback. He thought he'd be able to play him a little bit and then be able to flip him for maybe a couple more picks another year. He didn't look at him and go, oh, this is definitely the guy. So when you look at this situation, is he really the guy for Howie Roseman in terms of, oh, yeah, I drafted him. I'm so smart. Look what this guy can do. No, I don't think that's how he looks at it at all. I think he looks at this draft. I think he looks at 3 first-round picks. And I almost think that when it happens, let's just play in the world that it does happen. I feel like a lot of us are going to think back and go, wait a minute. Howie Roseman had 3 first-round picks and an unsure franchise quarterback, and he didn't take a quarterback in the 1st round? That's very un-Howie-like. I wouldn't be shocked if it happens. And the fact that they're showing this much interest, it feels like they're going beyond due diligence. It really does. It feels like you're not going to have at 15, 16 Kenny Pickett. You could. Malik Willis, you could. But it still feels like if that's the guy that they feel is going to be the franchise quarterback, I don't think they're sitting at 15 waiting for him to fall to that spot. I think they're trading into the top 10, maybe even the top 5. And you know what? With 3 first-round picks, they got the blank check to do it. I'm not going to be shocked I'm not predicting that he does it. I'm just going to be the farthest thing from shocked that Howie Roseman doesn't. You have the opportunity to get a guy you think is going to be your quarterback for the next 10, 15 years. They're going to do whatever it takes to go get him. If they were that much in on Russell Wilson, if they were that much interested in Deshaun Watson, if they were keeping tabs on the whole Aaron Rodgers situation, then you damn well better be sure that with 3 first-round picks, they're keeping their eye on whoever could go in the top 5, top 10, if they think that quarterback can help the Eagles be a perennial playoff contender and a Super Bowl contender as well. What the farthest thing in the world that would shock me for Howie Roseman is going after a quarterback. I'm not rooting for it. If it's me, if Howie's looking at me going, hey, what do you want to do? I'm like, hey, I'll tell you what I want to do. Hold on to those 3 first-round picks, make 2 selections, flip one to next year, spend it mostly on defense, help out your defense, and then let's move on. And that's where we'll go. That's where we'll go. We'll move on. And that way you can hedge your bets for next year. Because if Jalen Hurts goes tail up, like I said, if that happens, you have at least insurance to have 2 first-round picks going into next year's draft already. Before you wave your magic wand and somehow you end up with 4 first-round picks, Howie. So what really shocked me. That's what I got for you. Flyers lost last night 6-3. That happened. So hope everybody else having a great day other than that. Good times. Let me tell you about the great people at Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Seibert is a certified professional in the financial advisor for Eagles and Sixers fans only. His firm, Destination Retirement LLC, is a full-service planning firm and a partner of 1847 Financial. Mike helps clients with accumulation and distribution years. What's the difference? A lot. Have you figured out how much you need per month when you retire? How much of your retirement income would you like guaranteed no matter what? Well, Mike Seibert will help you with that at destinationretirement.com. You want to protect any assets from downside market risk, and do you have a written plan in place? If you have questions, if you need answers, if you have assets of over $250,000, Mike will create a written plan to help you offset your retirement expenses free of charge using software from Retirement Analyzer. He usually charges $1,999 for this, so act now. Your plan. We'll show you how you can offset your retirement expenses and also what to do in a volatile market and help minimize taxes. With over 30 years of experience in the financial game, Mike is committed to helping Eagles and Sixers fans get to and through retirement. You can reach Mike at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035 or visit destinationretirement.com. That's destinationretirement.com. Click on Find Out at the top of the page and fill out the questionnaire and see how prepared you are for retirement, and also to sign up for Mike Seibert's newsletter. He'll get back to you and talk about how he can help. As always, go Birds and play the song. Let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right in Philadelphia, right on Jewelers Row. Steven's been helping out everyone in the love business for 40 years, helping people get engaged and fall in love, cement their love with a beautiful diamond engagement ring. And if you're looking to get engaged, Steven has a beautiful variety of engagement rings, cushion cut, princess cut, all the beautiful diamond engagement rings. And he even has ready for love diamond engagement rings standing by at the ready. So if you're not sure what you want, Steven's got a wide variety to help you narrow things down with a real jewelry expert that will walk you through everything. And you can do all this while feeling relaxed and confident in your purchase, because you don't have to go in there worrying about haggling, negotiating, nothing like that. Things at Steven Singer Jewelers, and this is the best part other than just the customer service overall. The best part is you go in there feeling relaxed because you're getting the perfect price every single time. The other corner of 8th and Walnut, where you get the perfect price, IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. One place, one price, the perfect price every single day. Steven Singer Jewelers, IHateStevenSinger.com. Ladies and gentlemen, today's guest, joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line, is a gentleman named Clay Harbor. You know him from the Eagles. You know him from his NFL career. You might know him from The Bachelorette. I know him because when I first started going into the locker room with some regularity, Clay Harbor is one of the guys I started talking to. My friend Ruben Frank, who's been on the show many times, from NBC Sports Philadelphia, then asked me if I wanted to do a bar show with him, where we would interview a different Eagles player every week at this bar called Vesuvio on 8th and Fitzwater, it was, in South Philly. And the player would come out, meet fans, sign some autographs, and they did a special thing where they would like make their favorite meal from their childhood. I don't remember what Clay's was, but I just remember Clay coming out, being super fan-friendly, super nice guy, great guy to talk to. I would end up bumping into him. When my wife and I had just started dating, I ended up bumping into him if we were out on the town somewhere. We'd hang out, have a couple drinks. Just a great guy. And then I see him just go to national fame outside the NFL with The Bachelorette. Couldn't be happier for the guy. We reconnected a couple of months back on social media. And I'm happy he was able to come on with us and discuss all things Philadelphia Eagles, his career, and our favorite character from somewhat recent Eagles past, Chip Kelly. Clay Harbor's last year in Philadelphia, last moments, I should say, in Philadelphia were Chip Kelly's first moments in Philadelphia. And Clay Harbor did not exactly have the nicest thing to say about his former head coach. He likes Nick Siriani. He likes Doug Peterson. We cover it all, as well as what the Eagles could do in the NFC East in the upcoming season. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Clay Harbor joins us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. Eagles, 9-year NFL veteran, Bachelorette superstar, of course. Clay Harbor joins the show. What's up, Clay?
What's up, Mark? Appreciate you having me on there, man. You could have just stopped at the, Philadelphia Eagles, 9-year NFL veteran. You had to throw in the Bachelorette part too, but I don't blame you. It's it's a big part too. But appreciate you having me on.
Of course. Just real quick, how did all that happen? Like, who suggested to you? Was it your agent? Who was it that said, "Hey, Clay, you should do the Bachelorette. Give it a shot"?
So this is in my my last season. I'm with the Saints, right? And I go through training camp. I play one game. I break my wrist and my toe in the same game. First game of the season, and the regular season. And I'm on IR all year. And one of my friends had tried out for the Bachelorette, but he didn't get on. And the casting lady randomly sees him in a bar again. It's like, "Hey, we know you didn't make it last year, but you should try out again." And he's like, "Well, I'm actually dating this girl now, which he's married to and has a kid with, so it turned out well." So he's like, "I really think this is going to be my wife, but I have a couple of buddies you might like." He's like, "Okay, show me some pictures." He started showing pictures. He's like, "Ooh, I like this guy. Who's this?" He's like, "Hey, well, this is my buddy Clay, but he plays football. But I don't know, like, hey, we'll work with him. We don't need him to show up to do anything." So I started talking, and I talked to my agent about, I'm like, what's the worst thing that could happen if I go on this show? Didn't have to do any of the casting stuff. Next thing you know is I show up, and I'm stepping out of a limo on the Bachelorette, and it was just a crazy, literally a month and a half. Wasn't a big plan, and I actually ended up getting hurt on the show. I actually broke my wrist on the show playing football against a role model and a medical device salesman, and I'm over here usually playing on Sundays against these actual football players. So,
oh my God. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, I did not know that. I am not a big fan of the show. I'm a big fan of you, though, and you know that. So I'm sorry I missed that one, but I'm sorry that happened, my friend.
No, it's okay, man. It's okay.
So right now, obviously, retired, quote unquote.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Retired. Retired from the NFL, and I'm also retired from the Bachelor world. I did the Bachelorette and I did the Bachelor in Paradise, but I recently got my personal training certification. Almost done with my strength conditioning certification. Been doing some speaking engagements, working with brands and companies to promote, an advertising space, and then also looking to get into a little bit of the sports talk space. I love doing that. I've been working a lot with companies like NBC Chicago, have a podcast talking about Jaguars football, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. I want to make sure people can see this. Make sure you guys check out Clay, obviously, on social media, especially Twitter. You see it right there. 9-year NFL veteran. Chicagoan, so you're still based in Chicago then, huh?
Yes, sir. In Chicago right now in beautiful West Loop. Couldn't be a better day, about 39 degrees. The sun is not out. It's a little cold. It's a little windy, but, that's the Chicago life right now.
And what's the podcast? Where can we check out the podcast?
It's Believe in Jaguars. I have it linked on my Twitter, on my page, but we do an episode every Sunday, and I think we're going to start as we get closer to the season doing every Wednesday and Sunday. So it's a cool little podcast. If you're a Jaguars fan, I don't think most Eagles would waste their time with the Jaguars, but hey, Doug Peterson is now with the Jaguars. So we got a little bit of a tie-in right there. The last Super Bowl we won, Doug Peterson, head coach of the Jaguars.
Of course. So what was your reaction to seeing Doug Peterson go to, obviously, Jacksonville?
I thought it was great, man. You know, I played with Doug. Doug was the my first year in Philly when I got drafted. He was the offensive quality control guy. My second and third year in Philly, he was the quarterback coach. Awesome guy. I loved Doug. He was great to all the players. He was a good dude, funny guy. Was informative. You always saw him working with the quarterbacks. Back in my day, that was, you know, Cobb, Kafka, Vic.
Wow.
You know, he's always just, you know, just little things, showing them how to flip their hips, how to read defenses. I mean, this is a guy that played 15 years in the league, and then before he started coaching, so he knows this stuff. And I thought for the Jaguars, you know, after playing for Eagles, I went to Jacksonville for 3 years there, and I thought it was good. We need to bring on Trevor Lawrence. He's got to improve. And I thought Doug Peterson would be a perfect person to do that, since he knows so much about the position as far as coaching and playing it. So how's it getting any better than that? This guy's and coach it, and he can take Trevor under his wing and really show him and tell him what he needs to do to be successful at the position.
What are your impressions of Nick Siriani? I know you never played for the guy or anything like that, but when it comes to Nick Siriani being the head coach here in Philadelphia after 1 year, what do you take away from him?
I have some buddies on the team still, and everybody seems to like Siriani. You know, everybody says he's a good coach. You know, the players like to play for him, and I know he was under a lot of heat being the season after that slow start. But you know, hey, he persevered. They made a playoff run, and I think there were some holes in the team, and I think, you know, the team didn't underachieve. And if you're a coach and the team's underachieving, then that's one thing. But I feel like for the team that he had, I mean, I thought that the Eagles did pretty good last year. They made the playoffs. Obviously, you got stuck against Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, in the first round game. And obviously, we wanted that game to go a little different. I was pulling for the birds. But I thought he did a pretty good job, man. I thought he did a lot with what he had. And I know you got a young quarterback in there. It was honestly like Jalen's first year. I know he had some other starts, you know, 2 seasons ago, but I thought it was a good year. And this year will be really telling. You got a year under your belt for Jalen. He's going to have to improve, and Sirianni's going to have to improve too.
Certainly. I want to stay in your past for just a second, or go back to your past, because I saw this tweet, and I think this is the right one. Now, we'll get to that one in a second. This one here, I played for Chip Kelly, and I thought that was interesting, but I can only imagine the stories behind the scenes with Urban Meyer, which must have been very interesting. So first, what have you heard about Urban Meyer? Obviously not there in Jacksonville, as we just mentioned. Doug Peterson's there. And then also, your Chip Kelly's first year with the Eagles, did you get IR'd and then ended up in Jacksonville? How did that whole thing play out? And what were your takeaways from playing for Chip Kelly in the brief amount of time that you did?
Yeah, so to start with Urban, you know, I've heard it's basically like it's like the French Revolution, man. It's reign of terror over there. You know, everybody's walking on eggshells. You know, the guillotine waiting to be dropped on them. The players, the coaches. You don't want to look at Urban the wrong way, or you're worried about, you know, getting cut, getting your position taken. So it was a lot of fear. The dictator type coach. You know, I like the coach that's the guy that's pulling for you. He wants to see everybody do well. He's on your side, not the guy that's like, hey, you do this, and if you don't do this my way, you're gone. So that's what I heard about Urban was that, and that's not the type of guy you want to play with, especially if you have a young team. You have a rookie quarterback. You don't want to bring him up being scared.
Right.
And obviously the stuff coming out with him, you know, with the college girl kicking the kicker, berating guys, making them cry, you know, just complete. It's like, wow, this guy's an ego trip. And then you hear that he doesn't know who Aaron Donald is, doesn't know who some of these crazy players are. It's wild. And Chip Kelly, you know, I was with Chip. I was with Andy for 3 years, and then Chip Kelly came in. I was with them for the whole offseason training camp, and then I got cut, and Jaguars were first in the waiver wire, so they picked me up. But I got so many Chip stories, but I'll try to keep it. I'll just tell one, and one of the reasons why I thought it was interesting playing with Chip. Number 2 tight end, me. I was number 2 tight end, me and Brent Selleck for 3 years. Chip comes in. He obviously drafts Zach Ertz. And obviously, I mean, Zach Ertz is Zach Ertz, great player. Signs James Casey. You have Derrick Carrier. He's still in the league, been playing for like 10, 12 years now. I go from being a 2 to being a 5, 6 in one day. And we're going out throughout practice. I'm not playing very much. And he comes up to me and he tells me he thinks I should play linebacker. And I'm like, whoa, like I'm not a rookie, I'm not a second year guy. Third year, as my fourth season, he wants me to move to linebacker. So I moved to linebacker, and I'm over here trying to pass rush against Jason Peters and Lane Johnson. Okay, I've never played this position. I don't even know the basic terms. There's terms that are universal in this world of football and offense and defense. I didn't know the basic terms. So I go to Chip. I'm like, hey, I don't really want to play linebacker anymore. He thinks I should play. So then he says he has an open door policy. Nobody knows this story. So eventually I get to the point where I got to get cut or I got to get traded. So I go up to Chip's office after I'm talking to Brent Selleck about, I'm like, bro, like I can't be here anymore. I'm not playing linebacker. He's like, bro, go talk to him. I'm like, I'm going to talk to Chip and tell him to let me go or to trade me right now. So I go up to Chip's office, knock on the door. I'm like, hey, I sit down in the chair, talking to Chip. Go, hey, Chip, I don't want to be a distraction, man. I mean, you guys got a lot of great tight ends here, and I think you're an amazing coach. I just don't want to be a distraction at all. But I think it's best if you guys just, release me. Just cut me. I really don't want to play linebacker. Tight end, like you said, it's a pretty full room. So he starts going through the league. He goes, why do you think you can play tight end anywhere else? I'm like, what? And I'm like, and I've had my agent kind of reach out feelers to other teams at this point. They're like, dude, if Harper's on the market, he'll compete for our second job tomorrow. So I know there's teams out there that kind of see me as a number two, number three at worst tight end. I go,
you were a fourth round pick, no?
Yeah.
Okay. That's not for a tight end, that's pretty good.
And I was top 40 PFF, Bleacher Report tight end for 3 seasons. I obviously didn't get a lot of targets, but, I performed, I blocked well, I played special teams. I knew I could play in the league. So then Chip's he's like, I'm not going to release you. Who's going to release a fourth-year player for no reason? And he goes, New England doesn't need a tight end. Kansas City doesn't need a tight end. He starts going through all the teams in the league, telling me why they're not going to pick me up. Goes through all these leagues and telling me, I think you need to go back and learn defense. You might be able to make the team here. I go, hey, I appreciate your opinion. My opinion is different. And I think that you should still release me. It's like, well, we're not going to release you. He's like, I'll move you back to tight end, but you're probably not going to get any plays there, but I'm not going to release you. This is an OTAs. So I go back home. I shut off my phone. I skip the next 2 OTA practices. I go, what are they going to do? Are they going to cut me? Please, cut me. That's what I want you to do. Skip the next 2 practices. I finally come back in. All the coaches, Clay, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have skipped. You got to come and just compete. I go, guys, I'm not a linebacker. I want to play tight end. So now I'm back at tight end. And I'm playing in OTAs, and I'll go the whole practice. I'll do the individual drills. I'll go the whole practice. And then they'll try to throw me in the last period. I've been standing around for an hour and a half at this point. I am ice cold. The coach would be like, Clay, you're in. I go, no, I'm not going in. What are you talking about? I go, coach, you haven't put me in for an hour and a half. If I go in right now and play full speed, I'm going to tear my hamstring. You're in right now, go. I go, no, I'm not going in. So this happens and training camp comes around, right? And still the same stuff. Then all of a sudden I have a good game against New England. He put me in against New England. I think they were trying to trade me to New England. New England came to town, and he moved me to second tight end. I play in the game, and I have 3 catches for 80 yards, and I have a really good game. And that week of practice, we're practicing against him. He put me in, and I was just murdering. I was catching everything. I was blocking well. And so Chip calls me in his office. I'm like, hey, maybe he's going to release me finally or trade me or something. And he says, hey, we noticed you've been playing really well, and we want to find a way to keep you. So we're going to move you to wide receiver. Hey, wide receiver? Hey, we got Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, Jason Avant. We had Riley Cooper at that time. We had some Damaris Johnson. We had some good players. But I'm like, okay, it's better than linebacker. Mm-hmm. So that's when I moved to wide receiver for all the training camp. And he's telling me to lose weight. We're going to keep you, lose weight. So I'm losing weight, thinking I'm going to stick on the roster. Then the very last cut of the year was me. Now I'm 230 pounds. I ended up signing with Jacksonville that year. And to make the whole thing crazier, that year, our first game's against Kansas City Chiefs. Andy Reid's the Kansas City Chiefs. I go to Jacksonville for practice. Mercedes Lewis gets hurt. The first play of the season, I catch a 15-yard pass of the whole season for the Jacksonville Jaguars, signed here 4 days ago. I catch a 15-yard in route against Andy Reid. I look over the sideline. I said, "That's my old coach. This coach last year, Tom Melvin, my tight end coach." I'm like, "Yeah, man, the NFL's crazy. First down. I'm a Jaguar now." But that's one of the reasons I don't like Chip. Guys like, "Hey, you're not going to play for anyone else," and I ended up lasting longer than he did. I lasted 8 years, and he lasted like 5. So thanks, Chip. And that's sorry, it took a little while, but it's my Chip Kelly story.
Well, okay, so I have to ask you this because some people, in Philly were always like, do anything for the team. What was it that made you think, I can't do linebacker? And for the record, you said you were willing to make the switch to wide receiver. You lost the weight. What was it about the linebacker spot that was like, I know I just can't do this?
So there's universal terms and fundamentals that you learn from your position throughout the years, right? Mm-hmm. And I think I could have been a damn good linebacker. I ran a 4.5. I had a 40-inch vertical. I jumped 10.5 broad jump. I had 30 reps in the bench press in the combine. Really athletic guy back in my day. Now I got about 10 reps at the bench. I have a 15-inch vertical, and the back in my day I was good. Mm-hmm. So at linebacker, there's just so many terms that are universal. I didn't know any of them. There's so many coverages that are universal. There's so many basic moves that I was running routes on defense, on offensive linemen, trying to get past them. Mm-hmm. And I was decent. I had decent moves and like the individual drills. People like, wow, this guy might be able to play. But then you put me on the field and they're making the calls and stuff. It was just too far along for me to try to switch my mindset completely from this offense to this defense. And it did help me as far as a tight end. When I went to Jackson, you start to realize, okay, these drops, these linebackers, they drop 10 yards. Mm-hmm. They're not supposed, their heels are at 10. They're not supposed to go deeper than 10. So now if I make sure I sell my vertical to 11, 12 yards, I'll curl behind these guys. They don't even know I'm there. Just little things like that I picked up in like pass rush, how you're trying to like, okay, this guy's rushing. With stance, this guy's rushing for sure. He's pushing off his outside leg. And it really helped me become a better tight end. But at that point in my career, 4th season, at tight end, didn't feel like I could make the move to be effective.
Gotcha. Well, what's interesting? I'm reminded of Alejandro Villanueva, who Chip Kelly brought in to play, I think it was defensive end, a former Army Ranger. We all know the story of his background a lot. He goes on to become, a Pro Bowl tackle for the Steelers?
Offensive lineman.
Yeah, exactly.
The guys in Iraq, he's got like medals in Iraq. He's a Pro Bowler. Incredible story. They better make a movie about him.
Right, yeah. Yeah, and then, there's just another example of Chip Kelly be like, no, this guy's a D end, and then he goes to Pittsburgh, and they're like, what are you, crazy? This guy's a left tackle, and he ends up throwing bodies around now, with the Ravens, I believe. So that's another story of Chip not exactly knowing who should play where exactly. Yeah. But Clay, I do want to ask you about this because I think you and I are in the same boat when it comes to Jalen Hurts. I saw this tweet from you earlier today, as a matter of fact, at the time we taped this, talking about critiques of Jalen Hurts. I have critiqued Jalen Hurts, but I want him to be the guy for at least one more year in Philadelphia. And we've talked about Deshaun Watson on this show. We've talked about Kenny Pickett on this show. Where are you on Jalen Hurts as far as what you'd like to see the Eagles do with him?
Jalen Hurts is such a polarizing guy. If you say something good about Jalen Hurts, like he's you're going to have fans coming after you. If you say something bad about Jalen Hurts, you're going to have some fans coming after you. He's so polarizing in the city, in Philly, and even in the league. There's so many different, ideas about Jalen Hurts that people have. Obviously, you saw Jaworski's comments. You see Dan Orlovsky's comments. Emmanuel Acho's comments about Hurts. A lot of them are similar. Like, hey, he's a decent quarterback, but in this league, is a decent quarterback going to win you a championship? Right. Here's my thoughts on Jalen Hurts. This kid is 23 years old. Think about that for a second. Most players are getting drafted at 23 years old. And people are criticizing him. He's not even fully developed yet as a player. He's 23, and has 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, 87 rating. The guy's won games. He's brought his team to the playoffs. If you don't give this 23-year-old another season, 24, it's a disservice to your team and to him. This is a young player. He's got his whole career ahead of him. You're telling me you wrote him off after his 23rd birthday, 23, 24? young player. You look at these guys, you look at Pickett, you look at Malik. These guys are 23 as well, these rookies. They're the same age. And people are like, oh, we need to draft a new guy or maybe trade. Give Jalen Hurts a chance. He is young. He's 23. He showed some promise. He's going to improve exponentially, in my opinion. He's young. And after this experience, if he performs this year, just think what you have then. Now you have a 23, 24-year-old quarterback. It's going to be your franchise quarterback for the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm. So, needless to say, you wouldn't draft a quarterback with one of your 3 first-round picks? And if not, what would you do with the Eagles' 3 first-round picks in the upcoming draft?
Well, I think they need wide receiver help. And, I think they could use a linebacker as well. I love
do you want to jump back into the linebacker fray? You want to?
Yeah, I think I might make a comeback and start playing linebacker again, man. I don't know if I still got some of that tape from the chip days. I could maybe show Siriani, see if he'll put me in.
There you go.
I think linebacker. I like TJ Edwards. I thought that they should have went after Miles Jack. Miles Jack likes to play the will. He can play the mic as well. But I think Edwards, they got a steal when they re-signed him for a couple of years. I think he's a really good instinctive player. I know he had a tough playoff game against the Bucks, but I think you need wide receiver help. I like Devonta, but what's going on after that?
Right.
I think we need a big receiver there, and I think maybe some more defensive help. But first, I go wide receiver and linebacker. Those are the first 2 immediate needs that I think you got to fill.
Awesome. What early, way too early predictions before the draft and all that. What do you think the Eagles do in terms of the new NFC East with Carson Wentz as the starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders, the Giants going through a big change in head coaching and all that stuff, as well as the Cowboys trying to make some moves as well? What are you thinking of the NFC East in the upcoming season?
It's interesting, man. Carson Wentz is the quarterback for the Commanders. Honestly, there's a lot of people that hate Carson Wentz, and they think that I don't think he had a bad year. If you look at his year, he had like 27 touchdowns, 6 picks. Obviously, he lost to the Jaguars, and didn't make the playoffs. People still come back to that. And he had, arguably the best running back in football, and he still couldn't win, with that. But I think that it's an improvement for the Commanders. I think he's better than Heineke, right? Mm-hmm. I think we can all say that he's better than Heineke. So I think it's improvement. And I know he's going to have a chip on his shoulder to come back to, to the link and play against the Eagles and really against the people that he wants to prove wrong. Mm-hmm. And as well, and then you got the Cowboys. Obviously, they lost Cooper. You got Dak. They signed a couple new guys. But I think they're going to be a tough team. But they never seem to, to win the big game. And then you got the Giants. Brian Dable taking over. You still got Daniel Jones. I don't see how, they're going to do anything, make a miraculous turnaround, in my opinion. So in my opinion, I think the Eagles really should be the favorite in the division this year. If you look at it, the Cowboys possibly, but I like the Eagles. And then you look at the draft. They got the 15th, 16th, and 19th pick. That's incredible. That's incredible. People say what you want about Howie, but they got a lot of picks. And, Howie's had some good drafts and some bad drafts, but, I think wide receiver, maybe a inside linebacker presence. But I think they're in a good place. They're trending, and I'm excited to see what happens in this draft.
I do want to ask you, you ended up actually playing for the Patriots. You actually ended up playing for Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and all those guys, years later after you were done with the Jaguars. What were your takeaways from your experience in New England?
Just the discipline and the routines that they have. It was just different going from Jacksonville to New England. And looking back, I regretted it because I had the same offers from a few different teams, right? And New England, Jacksonville was the same offer. I had an offer from the 49ers, and I had an offer from the Patriots. So do I want to go to New England? And they just signed Martellus Bennett. They have Rob Gronkowski. They have Michael Williams and AJ Derby. And it's like, hey, if you want to go there, that's a tough roster. Look at the top 53 there, the top 53 in Jacksonville. I'm like, hey, I don't care. In my eyes, I think I'm one of the best tight ends. If I'm in the right position, I go, hey, I'm one of the best guys in this league. I want to go to New England. I'm going to play with Tom Brady. I'm going to play with Bill Belichick, and I'm going to win a ring. I go there. I have some injury problems. I tear my my adductor. I had to get bilateral adductor surgery during OTAs. Barely coming back in time for training camp. And in training camp, I'm like, dude, there's no way I ever make this roster. I only played the last 3 games, only got a few reps each game from being hurt. And they wanted me to stay on IR and just go on the PUP list, and just make the team. But I was like, dude, I want to come back. I want to play. Looking back, maybe I take time to get, 100%. Mm-hmm. Bags are packed. I'm ready to go in and talk to Belichick. Thanks for the opportunity. I'm looking at the cuts. We get the cuts when all the fans get the cuts. We don't get the cuts any earlier. And I'm just refreshing. I'm refreshing my computer. Okay, we went from 75 to 65. All right, went from 65 to 60. Oh, I didn't expect those guys to get cut because as a player, you'll fill out who you think is going to make the 53.
Right.
60 to 57. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? 57 to 55. I'm like, okay, 55, 54. There's one cut left. It's either me or this guy. I'm like, this is tough. And they cut. I'm like, I made the team. I don't believe it. I had my whole place packed up. Everything was ready to go. I'm thinking, okay, who's going to sign me? This team needs a tight end. This team needs a tight end. And I only lasted 5 games that year and got released. But it's a beautiful thing because in the NFL, there's something called double dipping. If you're a vested veteran and you make opening day roster, you get that full salary for that year. So I got my full salary. The next day, I signed with the Lions. I got the full salary with the Lions. Made the playoff with the Lions. Got the playoff check with the Lions. The Patriots won the Super Bowl because I played in at least 5 games. The rule in the CBA that if you play at least 5 games and your team makes it playoff, you get the whole playoff check.
What?
Every playoff check for the Patriots. I'm sitting here at a local sports bar in Chicago, drinking a beer, watching the Patriots win the Super Bowl, and people are like, dude, why are you pulling for the Patriots? I say, trust me. And they win the game, like, yeah.
Did you get a ring too?
Patriots, I had my agent call him and go, hey, this guy was on your team. Only team in the league that doesn't give a ring to anybody that doesn't actually play in the Super Bowl.
Really? So even people that are on IR, but that no, you have to play in the
you're not on the roster when they play the Super Bowl.
Okay, just making sure.
You get to play with the team all the way up until the playoffs, and if you weren't on the roster when they won the Super Bowl, they're not giving you a ring.
Wow.
So that was crazy. I was like, dude, I don't really want the ring, but I kind of do. It'd be cool to get the ring. But the difference was the discipline, the routine, and the habits of the Patriots. Man, you see the way you went through practice. Everybody is just accountability, and you expected to win. It was just the culture. You just knew you're going to win. You had to do your job, and everybody put in the time. Mm-hmm. It was a lot different than Jacksonville when I was there.
I'm sure you should get the Super Bowl ring, and I hope you held on to the bottle of beer or whatever you were drinking at the time, and just put it next to the ring and be like, I was drinking that beer when those guys won that ring.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was a crazy time though, but it was cool, and I just wish I would have been healthy and had a chance to really stick around that whole season. Or then again, a part of me is like, man, maybe I stay in Jacksonville where I know I was going to make the team. The coaches loved me. The special teams coaches loved me. And I had a good thing going there. But, you can't look back. I took a shot, swing and a miss.
You mentioned, being able to block as a tight end, and you already had all that terminology down. My takeaway from your career in Philadelphia, like beyond any pass you caught or anything like that, Monday Night Football against Washington. I think it was the game Donovan McNabb had just signed his new contract with Washington.
Yeah.
Michael Vick bombed down the field to Deshaun Jackson, where he later turns around taunting the Washington team as he's running into the end zone. And you're holding the block on the outside to make sure nobody jacks up Michael Vick. I believe it was on the blind side of him. Oh, no, it would have been the front of him because he's the left-handed quarterback. Yeah. And you're holding the block on the outside as he completes that pass downfield to Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, I lost sleep over that one when, you get the plays before the day before in the hotel room. So Brian Arakpo that year was murdering people the last couple of years in the league in his heyday. You're watching him toss tackles. I'm like, wait a second. I go, Marty Mordenman was our offensive coordinator. I'm like, Marty's put me one-on-one against Arakpo. I'm like, this is great. First play of the game, we're going deep to Deshaun, and I have to block Arakpo one-on-one. I go, maybe he's not rushing. He probably rushed like 70% of the time. Like, he's definitely rushing. So I'm like, okay, I got to make this block because, there's this bad blood. Everybody's all hyped up. Everybody's a little tight. energy Monday Night Football. I'm like, all right, man. I told all my family and friends, there was a couple friends of me, make sure you see the first play. And, I got the block done. It was, I probably had a half a second to spare when I let him go. As far as the holding call, I was kind of holding a little bit. But we got the play out. Deshaun scores the touchdown. Fly, Eagles fly. Everybody's happy. And then my other favorite memory was Miracle in the Meadowlands Part 2, man. I was on that punt return team on the field, and we're like, hey, if they punt this to Deshaun, we got to hold our blocks because, he might take this shit back. Like, let's go. Hopefully they punt it to him. They punted it to him. They took it back for a touchdown. Another fun memory. The locker room after that game, I remember going in there, Coach Reed, somebody dumps the water on him because that was the game to see who won the NFC East. And they dumped it on him, and everyone got quiet. They thought he looked pissed. Then he grabs the water bottle, the jug, and he throws it. It goes through the ceiling. It's like these little ceilings that, like the tiles up there.
Right.
Back down with half the ceiling. Everybody just starts jumping up and down. Yeah, let's go. It was insane. It was an insane locker room.
Oh, that's nuts. Now, that season, I remember it ended with Michael Vick going to Riley Cooper in the end zone against the Packers. It ended up not working out. That's one of those seasons that Michael Vick's having like an MVP year almost. You're feeling great about everything, and then just came up short. What was that season like? Do you go back to that season at all? But that team, really trying to do something special. What do you think about when you think about that season?
I think if we win that game, we win the Super Bowl, because you look at the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah,
we took them down. We lost by 4 or 5 points. We had them on the heels. We score that touchdown. If we come down with that ball, we win. I'm not. Maybe we don't. I mean, we're going to the NFC Championship game. Our team was so explosive. LaShawn McCoy in his prime, Macklin, Deshaun in their prime. I mean, we had a good defense. We had Avant on the slot. Vic was just playing such good ball. Nobody really had a chance to game plan him yet because he came in early in that season when Cobb went down. So I mean, it was just we felt like it was a team of destiny, and that was a really disappointing year for us. And the next year was obviously the Dream Team year.
Yeah, right.
Vince Young, Nnamdi Asama, Dominic Rogers-Cromartie came in the Dream Team year. We went 8-8, barely missed the playoffs that season. And the following year was the year Coach Reed got fired. We went 4-12 or 5-11. Tough season there. We just had a ton of injuries. And but going back to that first year, man, that really felt like it was something special that got cut short.
Clay, it's been a absolute blast catching up with you, man. I referenced it. I think I referenced it earlier in the show, but we met at Vesuvio Bar. It's not there anymore in South Philly, owned by a friend of mine, Jerry Diodesi, great guy.
Yes.
And Ruben Frank asked me to come on as a co-host to this bar event show. You were one of our guests. You were a great guest. I remember the people at the bar loved meeting you. It was just a blast, and that's where I started to get to know you, and it's great to catch up with you again. Let's get to know you a little bit further. Do you want to play Fast Five, my friend?
Let's do Fast Five. Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Bring in the band, ladies and gentlemen, for Fast Five with Clay Harbor. Here we go. Tell the band to quiet down a little bit here. Best job before your NFL job. Best job before your NFL job.
I was delivering pizzas at my aunt's restaurant, a small pizza place, and I would always drive around for an extra 5-10 minutes after I delivered the pizza, listen to some music. So that was fun.
Just killing time, baby. Just killing time. Go-to, I know you're a personal trainer now, you've said that, but what is your go-to fast food place? What is your cheat meal, if you will?
I don't have cheat meals, Mark. There's no days off. No, but if I had a cheat meal, honestly, I really don't like fast food, man. I like Chick-fil-A, but fast food, I would say Chipotle. I like Chipotle.
Those are the heavy hitters, Chipotle and Chick-fil-A. First date deal breaker, Bachelorette, Bachelor Paradise, whatever. What is a first date deal breaker for you?
If like smoked cigarettes, man. I grew up and my mom and my aunts and my grandma and my whole family smoked cigarettes. I used to hate it. I'd go to school, smell like an ashtray. You'd be like, dude, did you just smoke a pack of cigarettes before? I'm like, no, man, my mom smokes. I hate it. So if she smokes, I'm sorry. You might be a nice girl, but I can't do it.
I can't. It's been a while. Well, yeah, I mean, I was obviously been married, but yeah, I can't remember a girl that I dated that smoked often. Anyway, favorite city to travel to?
Favorite city to travel to, I would have to say, I mean, Philadelphia, man. I love coming back to Philly, the city of brotherly love. I always love coming back. It's just good memories. It's where I got drafted. I was 22, 23, 24 in this city. Had a ton of fun with a ton of like my old roommate, like Kirk Coleman, hanging out with Selleck and those guys. And man, that was a good time in that city, man. I love Philly, and it's always good coming back and visiting down there.
Fantastic. And then finally, what makes Clay Harbor beep his horn in traffic?
Oh, if you got all these kids these days are on their phone, the red light turns green, and they're just sitting there on Instagram for an extra 10 seconds on beeping. If you're in the fast lane and you're driving below the speed limit, I'm probably going to give you a little honk. If you're one of those dudes swerving in and out of traffic trying to cut somebody off, man, we're all going to get there. I might get a honk there. So actually, a lot makes me honk. People say I have a little bit of road rage. I don't think so, but I've been told that before.
Well, I will say you have the longest list of anyone we've talked to so far.
My dad's a chauffeur. He's been driving for years, so I picked it all up from him. Driving the car with chauffeur Jeff, taxi driver, limo driver now. I'm in the front seat with him, just taking all this in, growing up. And, this guy's a professional driver. Doesn't realize that everybody's not on the road for, 12 hours a day.
Is the Midwest honk? Is it like the Midwest nice, like the passive aggressive type of thing?
Chicago's a little bit different, but most people in the Midwest are nicer. Chicago's got a little bit of that city vibe. It's got a little bit of that East Coast feel.
Gotcha.
But the rest of the Midwest is more chill.
Gotcha. Good enough. Clay Harbor, man, great catching up with you. I mean that in all sincerity. Great stories about Chip Kelly and obviously a breakdown of Nick Siriani and all that. Continued success to you, my friend, with everything that you're doing, your podcast, everything. Make sure you guys are checking out Clay Harbor on all social media platforms, including on Twitter, where you guys can follow all the great things that Clay is doing and getting people in shape without eating fast food, which is just a foreign concept to me. Clay, great catching up with you, my friend.
All right, good talking to you, Mark.
Absolutely. Clay Harbor joining us on the Rothman Orthopedics guest line. That was a lot of fun, getting to have that conversation with my man, Clay Harbor. Yeah, I'm shocked that not more people were like, oh, yeah, Bachelor. But what I can't get over is Chip Kelly looking at him, or really any head coach looking at anybody on the roster and going, all right, I got this tight end. Let's make him linebacker. No, wait, hold on. Let's make him a wide receiver. Like, those two positions don't go together. Like, obviously, edge rusher, defensive end, maybe outside linebacker, that I can see. Tight end to linebacker, not the craziest thing in the world, but still kind of like, I don't know. But to think in your head, I'm going to make him a linebacker. Oh, no, wait, he doesn't really play that spot. Oh, he's actually okay at tight end. Oh, he's okay at tight end. Let me try him at wide receiver. Like, to go from linebacker to wide receiver is like throwing a smoothie, and it's the most Chip Kelly thing you could ever think. You know who thinks that? Chip Kelly thinks that. That's who thinks you can go from linebacker to wide receiver. Ooh, wait, I got a tight end. Let's make him a linebacker. No, wait, let's make him a wide receiver. Doesn't make any damn sense. And that 2010 team, if you remember correctly, Mike Vick finished second in the MVP voting behind Tom Brady that year. That team was really good. And I remember that playoff game against the Packers at home at Lincoln Financial Field, people. Aaron Rodgers goes on to win his one Super Bowl after they defeat the Eagles, and Michael Vick went to Riley Cooper in the end zone for that play. But I remember that season was incredible, and Michael Vick was incredible. And it felt like the Eagles were going to do something special that year, and they obviously fell short in the early goings of the playoffs. But yeah, that was a real fun conversation. And how about Urban Meyer? That didn't work out well, as we all know. And I saw some of you guys in the comments making the observation that nobody, Urban Meyer didn't know who anybody was in the NFL. He didn't know who Aaron Donald was. I don't know if there's more of an example. Like, at least I think when Chip Kelly came to the NFL, he was like, this is how I do things. This is my plan. This is my scheme. This is what I like, my way or the highway. And one of my big takeaways from that whole experience was going to practice. And I remember it was the first NFL practice I had ever been to And I'd been to a bunch, like going to training camp and all that stuff as well, included that as a kid. It was the first any type of NFL practice I ever watched that felt like it was an assembly line of football, where it was just constant motion, no wasted effort, no wasted time. It was just boom, 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 moving to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And I remember sitting on the stairs because in the Chip Kelly era, you were allowed as a media member to sit on the stairs of the NovaCare complex and watch. With Andy Reid, you had to be standing the whole time. Like that was his rule. Yeah, the media can be in, but they have to stand. Thanks, Andy. Anyway, but I remember sitting on the steps watching these guys go through, no lie, like high school endurance training. And I remember Brent Selleck, the aforementioned Brent Selleck, running over, finishing his sprint or whatever, and just looking at us in the media and just going, "Oh God," and like rolling his eyes, like, "Can you believe this guy's making us do this stuff?" But he bought in, and a lot of us bought in early. A lot of the Eagles bought in early on Chip, and hey, they made the playoffs first year, won 10 games the second year as well, missed the playoffs, and then the third year, it was over. But yeah, what a time! What a time to be alive, folks! What a time to be alive during the Chip Kelly era. So my thanks again to Clay Harbor for jumping on with us there. Good catching up with him. Let me tell you about the great people of Rothman Orthopedics. Oh, and how about this? Get cut from the Patriots, still make that full season check. Get signed by the Lions, make that full season check. Get a playoff check and a Super Bowl. Okay, not to mention the playoff checks from the Patriots as well. And you're sitting in a bar watching the Patriots win you money, and you didn't even have to bet on them. Go figure. Let me tell you about the great people of Rothman Orthopedics. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses in on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com, the official orthopedic partner of your Phillies, Eagles, and Sixers. That's RothmanOrtho.com. Let me tell you about WinView, the only game where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who is the biggest sports fan? If you have those friends and family members who think they know everything about sports, challenge them into a WinView contest and see if they can walk the walk as well as they talk the talk. That's right. Maybe a little action with the Sixers tonight against the Lakers you can get involved in with WinView. Make a prediction on the game, win some real money prizes. But remember, it's not a sports book. It's not daily fantasy. It's a social gaming app where fans can take on other fans and end the debate once and for all. Who is the biggest sports fan? Sixers right now, 7.5 favorites. 7.5-point favorites against the Lakers. So we'll see how all that plays out tonight. 10-10 tip-off in Los Angeles. So, yes, I'll be staying up for it. And yes, I will likely be tired. But hey, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Show up and win, baby. Joel Embiid, by the way, 31.5. James Harden, 22.5. I like the over for Joel Embiid and a Sixers win. So I might just why not go for a couple extra bucks and go for the money line. I don't know about covering. I'll say that much. So challenge everyone to a WinView app on the WinView app. Download it to your phone and have yourself a good time. How about PHL Sports Station, Philadelphia Sports Station, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsStation.com. Let's get involved with the chat check, ladies and gentlemen. See a lot going on here. How do we have one person watching? Right now, actually running a little late today. Little extended show for you, folks. Me and Clay, a couple of chatty Cathys. 7:07 in the morning. By the time we're hitting this right now, and one person watching? I don't think so, considering hi Evan, Mally, Howard, Sean, Matt, Cody, Rob, Al, John, Jim, April, Hannah, Sean again, Alyssa. Just hello everyone. All right, let's start at the top here, everybody. Hannah, what's going on? Hannah, nice to see you. Bachelor Clay Harbor in the building. You're damn right, Dante. Good morning to you. Lester, good morning. Mally, what's popping? Mally says, I actually think Jalen will have a better year. I saw you guys earlier, Dan Schwartz. I saw you trying to guess what color shirt I was going to have on today. Just ordered some new shirts. I'm really excited about it. Adulting, bro. Adulting. I really wanted a nice lavender shirt, but no, they're all out. They're all out of the lavender shirts. So there you go. I like the Thai bar. The Thai bar is a nice place. Howie with three first-round picks scares me. April, yeah, I think he's going to screw it up for sure. Alyssa, find someone that has the unrelenting faith in you that Lori has in Howie. We all need that special person. And you know what? I'm sorry that Clay couldn't find that person on The Bachelor or Bachelorette or Bachelor in Paradise. What a concept. Like, I remember my grandparents lived, like, my grandfather lived to be 100. My grandmother lived to be 96. They went through the Ozzie and Harriet TV years, right? They went through, like, the I Love Lucy TV years where, like, no one was allowed to be in the same bed, right? The Honeymooners. It was one shot of them in the living room, the kitchen / dining room the whole damn time. Now we got Bachelor in Paradise where there's people are just slaying it on the beach. Just that's TV. There you go. Yeah, see, Grandma, they're slaying it on the beach. I don't think that's appropriate. You're right, Mom. You're right. Do they go to confession? Oh no, they're all married. Everyone's married, and they all love Jesus. That's what happens. Jordan Davis most likely won't make it to 15, but I'm seeing they like Wyatt too. That's for the draft. Yeah, John, absolutely. I believe one of the picks will be of the Georgia linemen, maybe a defensive back, and a third. Either trade for a 2023 pick or trade up to make sure they get who they want. Yeah, I still think they hedge the bets and they flip one to next year. That just seems like a very Howie Roseman type thing to do. I think they could get two impactful players where they're at with their first two first-round picks, and then that's where they hedge the bet with number 19, and they flip that the next year. Cody, what's going on? Oh, did I miss a Bobby? Mama would not want me playing for these coaches. Let's face it, Mama wouldn't want you playing for any of these coaches because foosball is the devil. April. Urban seems like a total D-bag. Yeah, a little bit. Like, how do you go to a bar and let a co-ed dance up all on you, and you know someone's filming it, and, like, your family's in town? Like, what? I don't know. See, Mom, he had a co-ed dancing all up on him. And no, he wasn't married to her. He was married to somebody else. Anyway, that's me explaining things to my grandmother. Farzy, we now address him as Potato Chip. Yeah, Chip Kelly, sure. Alyssa enjoys the potato chip line. John Cheeseborough says potato chip was another guy that had to be the smartest guy in the room. He isn't in Oregon or UCLA. You don't ask the established pros to switch to defense or say nobody would pick them up. That is crazy. Like, that's a great example of not realizing you're coaching men now. Like, you're not coaching student athletes. You know, you're coaching men. You're talking no longer amateurs. You're coaching professionals. Like, dude, my agent has already reached out to other teams just to say, hey, could you use the tight end? Like, I know there's a market for me. I know that I don't have to make this switch in year 4 of my NFL career to linebacker. Like, it's one thing if you are Alejandro Villanueva and the Eagles bring him in, he's got no NFL experience, and they're like, all right, let's see what he can do. Okay, defensive end? Yeah, okay, let's see what he can do with defensive end. Like, that is, I understand at least. But then when the Pittsburgh Steelers take him and they go, oh, Pro Bowl left tackle. What are you kidding? That's like, okay, Chip, they obviously had a little bit of a better eye than you did. Inside the Birds, what's up, boys? Honestly, Clay screams Bachelorette contestant. Alyssa, I don't know what that means, but I'm sure it means that he's a swell guy and a handsome fella. Here's the thing with Hurts. All last year, this is from John. Here's the thing with Hurts. All last year, I wanted the team to build around him. And by December, I felt like they should have an answer as to whether he'd be the guy or go in another direction. The problem is they didn't get any answers because it was still the same questions there. They also had more questions. Ultimately, I think he stares down his receiver. Yes, I agree with you on that. I know you said that a little bit later there. Al, good morning. April, hello again. What was that? Watch out, Farzy. JC is about to become the Farzy Show and John Cheeseborough. All are welcome. All are welcome at the table of plenty right here, my friend. Al with an Aaron Hernandez reference. That still freaks me out. Whenever I see that on Netflix, I watch that whole thing with Aaron Hernandez. That was such a weird show. And I remember the intro music was crazy. Like, the intro music sounded like something from Disney, which just made it creepier. Al, never seen passion like this in the Fast Five. Well, we bring the passion, my friend. Evan. Soft. What? Hold on. Evan, I don't know what's going on there. making Clay a linebacker was making Juan Castillo a defensive coordinator. Oh, that's not bad. Very nice, Mally. Julian, what's up? Jim Krasmatter, Grass Meter. Thank you, brother. Clay is a good guy. Yes, he is. Evan, I don't know what you're talking about with the softcore stuff, but okay. Al, I feel like I had one-on-one exclusive show. Good morning, Bearded Brother 24. What's up, Bearded Brother? Falconator, you have 30 people watching. Okay, I'll take it. Mine not, and it still says one. It still says one person's watching right now. So hi, Mom. Let's see. Marriage versus single life. Laugh out loud. One for the live chat. PJ is a treasure, deserves no blame. They need to blame PJ for nothing. It really went from 28 to 1, and I was looking at it. April, it's a conspiracy. They're just trying to keep a brother down. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Mullet. What's up, Mullet? Howard, what's going on? Alyssa just said she just looks the part for Bachelorette. Evan, it is not a comedy, the Hernandez documentary. Yeah, definitely not. But I remember when I watched the intro, they had this theme song that literally sounded like you were about to hear "When You Wish Upon a Star." I'm like, huh? No problem, Farzy. Everyone gets my last name wrong. Grass meter. I'm just an idiot. Evan says he's got 32 people watching now. Juice is loose. All right, let me hit refresh just to see what we're at right now. Let me see if that does anything. Nope, still just one person watching. All right, thanks everyone in the chat. You guys are fantastic. Appreciate you guys. Let's get into the morning rush. Brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. As I mentioned, 76ers taking on the Lakers tonight, 10-10 start time. Joel Embiid's going off at 31.5 tonight. Sixers minus 7.5 favorites against the LA Lakers. I don't like the Sixers covering. I had a bad feeling about the West Coast trip, but I do like Joel Embiid going off. I might go alternate tonight. I might go alternate points total for a player prop. I might go 35 points for Joel Embiid tonight. That's just just telling you what I might do. Just telling you what I might do. So that's where we're at right there. My thanks to Clay Harper for joining the show on the Roth and Orthopedics guest line. Much appreciated for that. Thanks to everyone in the chat for participating. You guys are a great time as per usual. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Mark Farzetta for the Farzy Show, presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. Coming to you every day from the Steven Singer Studios. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Look forward to talking a little bit more Phillies and hopefully a Sixers win with you tomorrow when we talk some basketball. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, everybody. Take it easy.